just like it's spelled.
Yes,
all
there
right.
is. He's gonna give us an update tonight. If you can't hear him, go for it, sir.
Thank you. Hello, starters. Reading from class number 39. I'm new to town. My wife and I moved here in November and are really thrilled about being in the class to get to know people and to kind of know our way around town better. When I came from Corpus Christi, and when we moved there, we adopted a yard that was pretty well established. It just needed a little help. When we moved here, we moved into one of those brand new houses with no yard, no nothing whatsoever, and we have a clean slate. So that's a good thing, and I'm not sure, but I am learning so much. I appreciate the information that we're getting. So I'm going to tell you what we have covered in the last 4 classes since your last meeting. February 20th was the first one in that group, and Beth Smith was our speaker there. Of course, we talked about insects and integrated pest management, and she did a great job covering all of that and all the resources that she had about insects and entomology, identification, again, things that I thought I knew. I thought I knew a lot until I got to the class. But garden planting, which again is one of the things that we're trying to do. We went over to St. Andrews Park Garden and walked through there, really talking about garden planting, which again is very topical timing for me. Our next speaker, our next program was February 27th, and it was on fruit and nut trees, and our speaker was Mark Bannock from the Bannock Nursery. Again, most of y'all have probably heard him. Again, amazing information. We happen to have a Meyer lemon tree that we brought with us that we're very hopeful. It looks great right now, so we're hopeful that our one and only fruit tree will prosper. But again, so much information that's very, very timely for me particularly about trees. And since right after he talked, we arranged to have a mountain laurel planted in our tree. So now we have 3 trees. 1 in the front, 2 in the back. So, but the mountain laurel was a family favorite of ours. One of the things my wife grew up with was mountain laurel, so now we have a mountain laurel. So we're very happy about that. But again, good information that he provided. The second speaker that night was April, who talked on herbs. So y'all have probably heard the talk, but again, so much information. Again, I thought I knew some about herbs, but I knew this much. And now I know this much. Still, so much more information. But we learned a lot, and again, the resources in every class. I put everything in my class that I've been given in a notebook. Just because there's so much of it, just having it stacked around wasn't helping me. And I've gone back and forth through my notebook already to go through that. So that's been very helpful. The next class was March 5th. The first speaker was Marina, who's right here, and gave us an update on all the volunteer projects that are sponsored by the group and things that we can get involved in. And so that was a good thing to catch us up because, you know, we have ours to accomplish. The second speaker that day was the longer program that day was on vegetables, and Bill Nodine did that program. Again, all the details that go into planting gardens and vegetables and talking about composting and seeds. And of course, we all know about Aggie horticulture. Being an Aggie myself, I appreciate all that information and the plugs that are always given to Texas A&M, but good resources there. And then the fourth program to cover March 12th, the first speaker was Peter Fernandez and talked about earth time principles. And again, that was, again, important information. It really is sort of the umbrella for everything we're learning underneath that. So that was really helpful. And then Bill came back and spoke again about weeds. So a side note about something that he said that I really took to home, always looking for practical things. I've purchased 2 of the large container garden beds sit above the ground because I'm not really sure I want to put anything in the actual ground in my yard at this point, except for that one tree. And so I'm looking for things to fill in that, to fill the base. And in a new area, they're still building houses, and I saw a lot of wood pallets. And I thought, I'll get some of those wood pallets, make sure I could have as many as I wanted. He covered the information about reading the label on the wood pallets. I didn't know there were some pallets I wouldn't want to put in any kind of bed I was going to place. And all of the ones I picked up were dry treated or heat treated, and so they're healthy pallets, and we're moving forward. So we will have raised gardens before too long. That's our last 4 programs. So again, thank you all for mentoring us and helping us. I look forward to learning more about Mount Jordan. Thank you.
Okay, so for mine, if you, I hope you've had a chance to look at our membership meeting minutes on VMS from February 15th, 2024. There you go. And so I call for a motion to approve the minutes.
I go to approve first.
Okay. First, Denise, do we have a second to approve February's meeting minutes?
Joyce.
Say first. I know that Joyce, what's your last name, Joyce?
Fox.
Fox. Thank you. You got it? Yep. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And then we have, just so you know, the March board meeting minutes are now posted to VMS as well for your viewing. And as you did it recently, but it is on there. The Texas Master Gardener Virtual Conference registration is open. So if you haven't seen that in your email, go back through. Maybe it's in your spam, but you can sign up for that. It is virtual this year. If you have any questions, I know whenever Bill gets back as well, he's like a wealth of knowledge on that, and those that have gone before. So I have not had a chance to go yet this year. We're going for it. And also, how many of you have volunteered this month? Raise your hands. Awesome. Okay, how many of you have logged those hours? Hey, pretty good, pretty good. So this is just your friendly reminder. If you haven't logged those hours, please do them. We're going to remind you a couple times tonight. And then next on ours, we have some amendment proposals. So you know, we did talk with Travis, and he's guided us on what to do and the steps to do it so that everything is just tip-top, our T's crossed, our I's dotted. So the first one that we would need to do if we do this is to change the word publicity director to communications director in our bylaws. So there were forms outside. Does anyone want one that didn't get one? Okay. So it is on page 3 of our bylaws. All it is in Article 7, changing the word appointed, underneath the appointed director, changing publicity to communications. And some of you may wonder why. So the publicity fit the role when its primary focus was promoting events and what we offer. We feel that the title communications better fits the focus of communicating both externally with our community and internally in the membership. The vote was unanimous at the board at our meeting on 3/14. Notice was sent via email through VMS as well on March 16th. And per the bylaws, written copies of the changes available to you tonight, like I said, and call for motion and to approve. Yes?
Does this take the place of 2 different jobs that we have?
No. It is, right now we have publicity, and this is just the name of it. We have a publicity director. We do not have a communications director. That was not finished last year and put through.
So there'll be 2 separate.
It'll be one.
But you said you're not combining the 2 jobs.
Communications is not currently a job.
We're changing the name.
It was proposed for a different thing in the team idea that Bill had talked about. And so instead of doing the teams, what it is that we liked some of the things from that about communicating and extending more to what our needs are for that. So that's why we put it as publicity. But it's actually just the publicity. We're changing the name to communications. We're adding a few things to that description. So this is just for the changing the name. As you can see, it's just one there on page 3. That's all it is. And if you you'd like. You can also talk about the, just so everything is covered, so you know where we're pointing to. So on the PPM, there would be an amendment to change the description of the publicity director to the new one that was put out to you guys here. And again, primarily focused on promoting just the events. And it would now have more to do with connecting both our community and us. So like on our social medias, for our flyers, so that our flyers are done by, in the ways that we're supposed to. So someone would be able to take care of and make sure that it is being done within our rules per Travis. Like we have to have our logo, we want all of them to be tip-top shape. Those biggest things. If you read through it here. So it's someone on the board that any of those that are already going on. So we already have a Facebook editor, we already have a newsletter, we already have a webmaster, just so that they have someone on the board that can talk for them and that they can ask questions through. And you would maintain a master list of publicity venues available for publication. So. Coordinate educational content between the newsletter and social media platforms. Not meaning that everything would be through them, but it would be, okay, so in February, we're talking about pruning trees. So that there's one primary message. Other messages can be put. It's just trying to have something together. Seed starting, that sort of thing. Maintains a list of passwords for those different platforms. Making sure the branding is cohesive across all the advertisements and announcements. They'd be a part of the board. Making sure that it aligns with our Master Gardener goals and objectives. I don't know if you guys have a chance to read through that. We have that posted. Does anyone want a copy? We have it on the back. So we're going to go back. Call for a motion to approve the name change in the bylaws.
I move that we make the motion to approve the name change in the bylaws.
Can you say your first and last name?
Sandy Tremaine.
Thank you.
Black.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, so a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So one. It's okay. So two. Okay, one. Okay. Call for a motion to approve the amendment to the PPM description. We have a first. Yeah. I so moved. Second?
I second it. Sandy Tremaine. Black.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, 1, 2, 3. 3 and 3 opposed. So both pass with a majority vote. Board meetings, I just wanted to say as a reminder, you guys are always welcome to come to them. They are the second Thursday each month. What? What?
Third Thursday.
Board.
No.
Oh, board meeting, I'm sorry.
It's okay, it's okay. I'm like, hey, what did it say? It's okay, we make typos. The board meetings are the second Thursday of each month here. We start at 6 until we finish. Please arrive early to ensure seating because we've been asked to have it up in our office. If the other rooms are available, we'll move to them, but our office gets a little cramped. So you're welcome to come, and we'll try to move to a different one. We were able to be down here this past one. And if you have anything that you would like to be added to the agenda, you can contact any of us, but here's my email and my phone number as well, and we'll add you to it. Okay, next we have Denise. She's going to come up and do our Starfish Awards.
Do the
Thank
best.
you. There you go.
So as a reminder, Starfish, it's just your ability to recognize people that you work with or that you see are really making a difference. So, would anybody like to Did anybody starfish? Yeah, I was trying
There you go. I'm not gonna get more than 90 seconds.
5 minutes.
I need more than 90 seconds.
Take as long as you need.
The last couple of meetings that I've attended, I've requested volunteers to donate plants for our propagation class. Anybody that has plants that are going to donate them to us, we need to have them by Monday. No later than Monday, because our class is going to be on Tuesday. Okay, so we appreciate everything that you have. Now, Tim was going to be here, but he had to fly out of town, get away from everybody. He's going on a trip to Europe, so he's anyway. So anyway, I wanted to, I would like to recognize an individual that has gone far above and beyond the call of duty. Okay? At the end of this last year, the procedure for background checks for the Master Garden organization was changed. It required a 2.5-hour training, and then the actual background form filled out. And then you come up with, what's your name, April? This person took the initiative and got trained on this procedure. And then got all 30 students paid for it out of their tuition.
Thank you.
After all that, she helped the students get through the system of getting the background check.
Yes.
She went through all this. Travis and Denise did not receive the results of the background checks that they were supposed to. And we were told, well, all students had to redo the process again to pay for their own registration and background check. So this person again took over and made calls and did research and found out from the TAMU, Texas A&M University, that there was a computer glitch in their system that the programmers were supposed to work on last August, but apparently got put on the back burner. Because of her taking the initiative, they found this problem in the system. As a result of that, of course, Denise and Travis are going to be receiving the results of these checks. And the students are not going to have to redo their tests and go through the training thing again and pay for their tests. They would have to pay for it out of their pocket. Okay? Because this woman took care of it. Okay?
Married to a computer programmer, so he was a big part of it. There was something wrong, something missing. What happened was their programmers completed it for the 4-H club. They did them first, the 4-Hers. So theirs was working and they were happy, and the computer programmers went about on their way and they got busy with other things, and they forgot to complete the program for the Master Gardeners, who else is the Texas Wildlife people, the Plant Society. So it's not only us, it's not only our county, it's all the counties in Texas since last September.
I would have found this out if she hadn't.
They would have eventually. But they're having to go in and manually do all of this stuff. So it's not just us, but Frank had a lot to do with it. He kept saying there was something wrong with the program.
So where do you go work?
She doesn't work. I'm going to do this.
I know.
So anyway, that's all.
There you go again.
Any other starfish?
And Beth is our president-elect, and she's not able to be here tonight. As most of you know, she had surgery, on medical leave of absence.
And a lot of people signed that card, it was really
Thank
great.
you, everybody.
Yes, thank
I know
you so
she
much for
really
that.
wanted
That
to be
turned out
here.
so
She actually
good.
wrote me and she was saying, I don't feel that great, and I said, stay home. No, and she was very devoted to this, and she really wanted to be here tonight, but we were like, stay home with you. So the next ones that we have this weekend, we have the Big Red Barn, the tractor pull, farmer's market, the what?
What time is that?
It
It starts at
10
10, and the volunteers need to be there by 9 in the morning to set up.
Inside. What?
Inside.
Inside, awesome.
Yeah, so it's not gonna get
Even
canceled.
if it rains.
And POCs for that one, unfortunately, I'm not able to do that because I'm going out of town, will be Denise
Claire.
and Claire.
Yep. And then on March 30th, we have it again at the Silver Well, we didn't have it last week because of the rain, but it is scheduled for the Silver Center on the 30th. And the plane sales are, we still have the Earth Day to sign up in April, but we are to be determined depending on how Beth is doing and who can fill in for her.
And we may explore some new venues.
Yes.
during that time too. So that's why we didn't want to post it.
We had it for Silver Center like every weekend in April, and so we're wanting to see if there's something else that we can do space-wise, but it will be for the Earth Day that is already signed up and ready to go. Oh, I don't know why the picture didn't show up there, but yeah, here's the point of contacts for the sales, Denise and Claire. And Maria's just going to talk more about that for this week. This coming week. Here. You guys already know this, volunteers are needed. Maria will talk about it.
Yeah.
And next, okay, so Denise is going to talk for Bill because he's not able to be here tonight. He had surgery on his eye. So we're just falling apart.
So there's going to be the shortest education report. Okay, so, and I'm very happy to hear that a lot of you guys are putting in your hours. Just please make sure not only do you put in your volunteer hours, but also put in your continuing education hours. According to Bill, 50% of our members have 0 hours for continuing education. So, as you know, if you're at a meeting and you stay and listen to the speaker, you've already got 1 hour.
Plus volunteer time.
Yes, and thank you for mentioning that, because, just so you know, because I told somebody this the other day and they weren't aware of it, but you can put in volunteer hours and continuing education hours on the same screen. Okay? And your hours, I put, one screen for each one. Yes, you can put your volunteer hours and CE hours. So anyway, please make sure you put in your hours. And then Bill just wanted to show that, out of the, I guess, this horticulture education programs, there were 345 homeowners and gardeners that attended, and the surveys show that, for all of them, over 90%, it increased their understanding and knowledge, which is a good thing. That's what we should for. And these, you've probably heard of some of these. The continuing education opportunities for April. I know Sarah already mentioned the, well, that's the next one, sorry about that. Schertz Public Library, and then here at the AgriLife building, these are all for April. Friends of the Library in Seguin Public Library, these are all posted on VMS. So if you're interested in any of these, please go to VMS, it's on the homepage. And I believe that Paul is, or Dave, are you also putting this? This is also.
The calendar, it's in the homepage.
And did you want to say something about the calendar? You wanted people to
Subscribe to the calendar.
subscribe to the
They
calendar on
don't
the
ever
webpage.
miss another event, as
And
long
they'll-
as we know about it and publish it.
As long as it's on there, if you subscribe to the calendar,
It'll
then you're going to get
automatically-
reminders all the time. Thanks for sharing that. All right.
You can go to our
Okay, and then
website.
upcoming advanced training, the virtual Master Gardener Conference. How many of you have been to a virtual Master Gardener Conference?
Yeah, that one.
Wow.
Well, the last 2 years, I've done it virtually, and I really like it. I like it a lot. I mean, you can get everything just sitting in your pajamas if you want to. Yes. Also, advanced training, trees and tree care. Again, this is on VMS. I'm not going to go over all of this, but I will tell you that if you are interested in an online course on houseplants, you can take this on your own. It's $179 enrollment fee, and I think it's not offered very often, but it is coming up, and I think it's during 1 month. It's self-paced if you're interested in it. If you would like the Master Gardeners to pay for it, you can fill out an application for advanced training. Master Gardeners will pay for it, and in return, you'll teach your fellow Master Gardeners about it. You'll share your knowledge. Any questions?
Maria?
Denise, remind everybody to sign in.
Oh, yes, if you guys haven't signed in, please make sure to do that because we do a drawing at the end. So here in a minute, whenever we take a short break. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Maria Dykes. Nice to meet you there. So you both see what I look like. I am the volunteer director, okay? So occasionally you'll get emails from me on where volunteers are needed. That's what I do. I'm going around to all the gardens and listening to everybody to see where they need volunteers, what your major projects are. We did have a meeting on February 29th, which was very successful. Like we all got together on the project leads. And coordinators got together and we shared ideas and like what your gardens are up to and how we can help. So that was a great successful meeting. March plant sales, I've been in charge of the first one, which failed because of the rain. But it's okay. Thank you for everyone who's supporting us by buying plants. So we could do a plant sale for members only, and it turned out really great. So thank you for that. As mentioned before, April plant sales are to be determined right now because we're trying to venture out to other venues, going out to Shirts and Cibolo. They have markets too, you know. I think that if we just have them in Seguin all the time, it's great, but you're going to start seeing the same customers, and then they might get in trouble by their spouse if they're buying too much, right? So let's venture out to Cibolo, Shirts, other areas in Guadalupe County, right? So that's what we're trying to do. Also, the plant sale for this Saturday, as mentioned, Denise and Claire are going to be the POCs for that, the point of contact. And we do have the volunteer list, so I just want to say thank you for everybody who's been going on Sign Up Genius to volunteer and emailing me for your interest and the plant pickups at Peterson's. You guys are amazing. I just want to say that. You really, really are helping us out a lot. The project site visits are going well. Wherever I can, whenever I have time, I try to go visit at least 3 gardens a week. So you guys have seen me out there. Miss Janice, I am going to go to Big Red Barn soon, okay? I promise. I'm like, we keep emailing each other, and I'm like, there's always something going on, so sorry about that. All right, so as mentioned before, we're going to start recognizing gardens that are doing great things. All of them are doing great things, but I wanted to recognize the Spotlight Garden, which is Growing Future Gardens, located in New Braunfels, okay? So I've been going out there to help Miss Benna Hunter with this project. It's amazing. She's doing great things out there. But this is the location. The Growing Futures Garden is actually, come on up here. The Growing Future Garden is actually a Serenity Educational Garden that's located behind the Connections Foster Care Center in New Braunfels. And so Benna's been doing great things. She started it from the ground up, and look at it now. Look at that. So we were there like last week doing transplants of plants. We've had a lot of volunteers that have been growing seedlings, and now they were ready to be put in the ground. So we've been doing a lot of that. And anyway, this is Benna, if you guys know what she looks like. So we want to talk about the next volunteer day and
Yeah, so our next volunteer day is this coming Sunday. It's going to be a fun day. We're going to be planting, so lots of little baby seedlings that need to get out of my yard, and I'm sure I have other people growing things that are just ready to throw plants at me. So I'll take them. But we will also be putting down cardboard, installing our bird houses and our bird feeders, because it's also going to be a certified wildlife habitat, which is actually not that hard to do. So you can go on the website, fill out the form, and if you meet, some pretty simple requirements, they'll send you a little plaque you can put in your yard that says certified wildlife habitat. Anyway, that's pretty neat. But yeah, Sunday we'll start at 9, and we'll work until we can't anymore, or until the plants are all planted. So that's about it. All right, thank you. Okay, so as always, we volunteers right now, that's really for the reporting, continuing education presentations and membership meetings. And the POC for that is Paul Prince. And we're also looking for people to have photos for the kiosk at the Big Red Barn. So we're trying to update all the pictures as well for that. And then, of course, we have that vacant position for the communications director. And that's it. Does anyone have any questions for me?
Any pictures also they want updated to the website project pages.
Okay, so for the project leaders, coordinators, if you have any updated pictures you would like to send to
Dave.
over there to David, because he's updating all the pictures in the website as well. So that would help him out a lot. Anything else? Anybody have any questions for me? You're welcome.
Thank you. Hey, here we go. You're all good.
All right, here's our balance for February. The checking account and then the education fund. And then, there we go. There's our income, and nothing different about that, nothing unusual or notable about that. And the total expenses were more than our income. So we spent $1,058 more in February than we took in. And then for the year-to-date, that column to the far right, that's year-to-date, January and February. So we spent $2,983 more than we've taken in. So our balance is slowly going down, but that's to be expected. We got things going on. So does anybody have anything specific? I'm rushing it. Any questions? Good.
And next we have Wendy. She is our vice president. What? Oh, I'm so sorry. I called to approve her report for the finances. Motion to approve. April 1. It goes to 4. We have lots. Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Any against? Wendy. Come on up, President. That's up to you. Okay.
It's different this week, okay?
Okay, because that one's for the transfer.
It's all good. Okay, so tonight we have, I'm a little starstruck because I follow on a podcast that's on the internet. Mr. Jay White, owner and publisher of the Texas Garden Magazine. His topic is going to be totally pest-free organically. Next week we have, next month we have Kathy Zarsky. She's with the Last Cake Reserve in Austin, and go look that up on the internet. It's so cool, and I never heard of it before, and she is 100% invested in that. She's going to share that with us. And then the May 16th, Judith Green with, she's going to do butterfly and hummingbird. So that's always a popular one. So that's my report.
Thank you.
And then we'll just go check. Okay?
Yes. We're gonna take just a couple minutes, literally, just get him set up and ready to go. But, we start,
Like in 5
Are you gonna put one on here?
we got 5 minutes.
Thank you for inviting me. I mean, this is really how we sell the magazine, and in fact, our little thing that I like to tell people, if I can't sell this magazine to master gardeners, I need to get in a different business, okay? So, how many people know the magazine? How many people take the magazine? I love coming to the hill country, so I don't know what it is about the hill country, but statistically, y'all buy my magazine more than anybody else. And so, it's always a pleasure to come here. Y'all, if you don't know the magazine, let me do my little quick sales thing real quick. We're in our 43rd year. So, this magazine started before most of y'all were born, I understand that. But I think the reason that the magazine is still going strong after 43 years is nothing that I do, it's the writers that we have. And so I heard the young man who was from class 39, I think, giving his update, you're an Aggie. Okay, so I think the reason, okay, she said I give stuff away. I do give stuff away. Let's get it started. Nobody likes to be preached to, so I like this to be fun and interactive. And so I tell people, if I ask questions and y'all get it right, I'm going to give you a party.
27.
All right? What did you say? 47. There we go. If you get it wrong, you need to raise your hand. If you get it wrong, I'm going to give you fertilizer. So the point is let's just have fun. You guys know how to garden, right? I mean, you're master gardeners and everything. So I'm going to tell you, the reason I think our magazine is still around is because of folks like you. A lot of people don't realize it, but Texas Gardener and the Master Gardener program goes hand in hand. In fact, most of y'all that are around here, y'all ever heard of Jerry Parsons? Yeah. Y'all know Dr. Parsons? Yeah. Dr. Parsons' hand was on the first cover of Texas Gardener. So we have the picture of Dr. Parsons' hand holding a plum on the first one ever. So we've had a long relationship with AgriLife. And I truly think that that's why the magazine keeps going, okay? And our vegetable expert, how many people here knows who our vegetable expert is?
Patty Leander.
Ding, 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 ding. Very good. Patty Leander.
I begged her to come and speak to us if she did.
Yay!
She's hard.
She's getting hard to get. She's got grandbabies now, and so it's hard to get them once the grandbabies get here. But that's why I'm here, because I've got grandbabies. So, anyway, so we have a great slew of writers, and our tagline has always been a magazine for Texas gardeners by Texas gardeners. So most of our writers, well, all of our writers are degreed working horticulturalists in the state. If you don't know Patty Leander, if she spoke, Patty is the lady that when you go and you get your planting guide from Travis County that kind of tells you what to do, Patty made that. Okay, so, and that's the kind of people that we have writing for us. Most of them are PhDs, master's degrees. So anyway, that's what keeps us going. Our magazine, we have a couple of special issues. Every January, February is the tomato issue. And that's Patty's granddaughter on the cover with her tomatoes. And so, what's special about the tomato issue is, number one, everybody loves tomatoes. But number two, is in the center of January, February, there's a vegetable planting guide for every vegetable you can plant in Texas and when to plant it. Here, I'll leave that with you. And then we have another special magazine every year, the July-August issue, and we call it the water issue. And in that issue, we focus on water conservation, water capture, water reuse, low water plants, native plants, things like that. Because, I don't know if y'all know it, but we got a water problem here, okay? And we really do. And our kids, where I'm going to go spend the night tonight, they literally live down the street from Jacob's Well. And Jacob's Well has stopped flowing 5 times in recorded history, and 2 of them have been last year and the year before, okay? And so that's not good. So there are too many straws in there, and, you know, we really do have a problem. So anyway, if you like gardening, I think you're going to like our magazine if you haven't taken it. I tell people it is $750 $80 cheaper than the average Starbucks habit. So I looked it up. The average Starbucks habit costs you $780 a year. So our magazine and the planning guide, the magazine is $24.95. That's cheaper than 4 blizzards at Dairy Queen. And the planning guide, that's $12. So for $36, you get a full year of great, great gardening information. So what we're going to talk about tonight is pest-free organic. Okay? So how many people like to be organic growers if they can? This is one of the things that has truly shifted in my world since Texas Gardener began. In the beginning, you know, everybody, chemicals, pesticides, and commercial fertilizer, right? And I understand, I went to A&M, whoop, you know, so I went to A&M, and that's the industry that supports A&M, okay? And so that's how a lot of Aggies in agriculture were taught to garden. But as we've gone on, we found out, this is what I tell people. Somebody tell me, what's the difference between horticulture and agriculture? Or fertilizer?
Nothing.
Huh? Well, there's, you participated, you said nothing, right?
I said
Oh, okay. Who said nothing?
Kathleen said nothing.
All right.
Thank you.
So I'm going to tell you, Jay's opinion of the difference between horticulture and agriculture is the tractor. Okay? So, to me, that's not exactly true because fruit trees and all that fall in those parts. But generally, when you think of horticulture, you're thinking about backyard gardeners and passionate gardeners. Okay? You can be bigger than a backyard gardener, but generally it's people that like to garden. And they don't do it because they necessarily need the food, right? I mean, there's a million reasons for us to garden. So through the years, we've gotten more and more organic because we can. And I tell people right now, one thing, I know I'm a plant nerd, okay? I get it, okay? The thing that's got me super fired up right now is soil science, okay? And the reason soil science has me fired up right now is because electron microscopes have finally evolved to a place where we can see things that we've never seen before. Okay, and so when you hear of things like mycorrhizae, who's heard of mycorrhizae? Good, no, there's too many hands. Somebody tell me what you've heard of mycorrhizae.
It's good for the soil.
It is good. Mycorrhizae is great. Okay, so what is mycorrhizae?
It's a fungus.
It is a fungus, right? And it is a fungus that does many, many things. And what we're learning is the more we study the soil, the more we understand ecosystems. Okay, we're understanding that in a tablespoon of soil, there is more life than exists on humans on planet Earth. Okay, so they say there's roughly 8 billion people on Earth right now. There's more than 8 billion microorganisms in a tablespoon of healthy soil. And I think healthy soil is the basis of everything we do, including pest-free organic. Okay? Good soil is going to solve you a whole bunch of your problems. So, what does organic mean? I think the shortest definition, this is one thing that, I like it in gardening. This is America, I tell people. We're free to do, say, just about whatever we want. So you can define organic however you want, but I think generally one thing that people kind of agree on is the thing that defines organics is what you don't do as opposed to what you do, okay? And so organic gardeners generally try not to use synthetic fertilizers, herbicides, and pesticides. Can we all agree on that?
Yes.
Okay, boom. So let's go on and see, what are the most important organic principles? So I like to ask people, everything in science is in Latin, right? So everything's genus names, species names, and all that. I always ask people, when somebody tells you something, you should ask questions and you should think about it, okay? Because there's a bunch of junk that goes around in the world. So if somebody tells you something, ask a question, think about it. When somebody says, why do you think something that kills plants is called an herbicide, something that kills bugs is called a pesticide, okay? Something that kills fungus is called a fungicide, okay? Why do you think, what do those three words all have in common? They're all killing different things.
Size.
Sides, okay? Ding, ding, ding. They have sides. Now, I'm getting close to the bottom of my fertilizer pile. So, does side, C-I-D-E, mean in?
Kill.
To kill.
To kill. To kill.
All right, I got two more, so I'm going to have to save these for really special questions, okay? Side means to kill, okay? And just because it is I think I went the wrong way. Did y'all already see my grandson?
Beautiful
Yeah.
garden.
Okay, so I don't want people to think that just because we're using organics, that there's no consequence, okay? I think that is a big misconception in organics, is that we can do whatever we want and we're not going to harm the environment, okay? Well, that's not exactly true. What does side mean? Side means to kill. Okay, one of the things we're going to talk about when we talk about spraying bugs is a thing called spinosad. Okay, spinosad, however you want to say it. If you spray that, when the bees are active and the bees get in it, it will kill the bees. Okay, because it is a side. It kills, okay? So we have to think through some of this stuff. So when I was a kid, somebody told me when I was in Sunday school, they said if somebody asks you a question and you don't know the answer, just say love. They said in Sunday school the answer is always love, okay? In the real world, when you grow up, if you have a question and you don't know what the answer is, just say love. No. Oh no, love goes out about 5th or 6th grade.
I'll find out.
Just say money. If you don't know why something is, just say money.
Money.
So
Follow the money.
I'm going to tell you that if you want to control buggy pests and things like that, then we're going to do it the way a greenhouse does it. And you know why we're going to do it the way the greenhouse does it? Money. Money, 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 money. Okay, greenhouses do not like sides. And you know why they don't like sides?
They cost money.
They cost money. But more importantly, not only do they cost them money to buy, if they buy and use them, then they miss out on money when they sell their plants. Because now the public has been educated to the point that if they can buy organic plants, they are willing to pay a premium for those organic plants, all right? And so because of that, greenhouses are quickly moving away. Now there are different places, and we will talk to you about the reasons that you go to a local nursery as opposed to go to a big box and things like that. But I will tell you that I love local nurseries, okay? If you can support your local nursery, please do. And this is my analogy that I tell people why you go. And we're tying it in right here about who they buy plants from, how they buy plants and things like that. If you go to a big box store and watch an 18-wheeler come in and they're offloading a bunch of plants, guess what that 18-wheeler guy leaves with? Money. No! No! In this case, no! In this case, he shakes their hand, he waves, and he leaves. And that grower does not get paid for that 18-wheeler worth of plants until they ring them at the register. Okay? And so, if you go to a big box store and they don't have trained help, or they don't have a manager that's on top of things or whatever, and those people didn't water those plants, it's no skin off their back. Okay? It's no skin off their back because they're not paying for it. But when that same truck goes down the street to your local nursery, you know what that truck driver leaves with? Money. Money. He leaves with a check. The minute he drops those off to your local nursery, he's going to leave with a check. And so that kind of tells you that those local nurseries, I tell people, a local nursery doesn't make any money the first time you come in. They make the money on the relationship. They make the money the 2nd, 3rd, and 50th time that you come in there, okay? Because they build loyalty by providing superior plants that are more in line with what you want. And if you truly love organic plants, if you truly are willing to pay for organic seedlings and things like that, I promise you, your local nursery will know how to get them for you. Okay? So, number one, pick a good nursery. Develop a relationship with them.
Green
I'm sorry?
Gate.
I don't know that one, but.
Okay.
Mango.
Oh, okay. Ask them if they need to carry the magazine. Evidently they don't carry the magazine. I don't know them, but maybe they can. Huh?
Rainbow Gardens.
Rainbow Gardens carries the magazine.
Yeah.
So,
Green Day carries your name.
they, oh, very good.
Plant house.
Plant House buys a bond. Millburgers does not. Not that I know of.
All that I know here.
Yeah, I don't know, but if y'all know these people, tell them you know me and you want to buy the magazine. So, all right. So, I heard, and I'm sorry, what's your name?
Don?
Dawn. So I heard you say in your talk that one of your speakers that y'all had came and spoke to you about the integrated pest management system. So this is one thing, the integrated pest management system is one of those things that we define with the triangle. You've all seen these before. There's nothing special about this. But just understand, if you're going to have an organic pest control program, you're going to need to do kind of what the greenhouses do, which is an integrated pest management program. And the way these things work, the base of your program is going to be cultural. Then as you move up, you're going to use mechanical and physical things to separate things from pests. Finally, and as a last resort, we use chemical and biological, even though we're using organic chemicals, right? Or organic pesticides, all right?
Can I ask
So,
a question?
You can ask any questions you want.
How can you say organic pesticide?
Uh-huh.
We know that kills things. Why aren't you saying organic methods or organic ways? Because
Well-
if you're using a pesticide,
Okay.
and you want to call it organic, I don't get it.
Well, so that's going to be like your definition, okay? But I promise you that if you go to a nursery and you buy BT or spinosad or whatever,
Well, I got
they're
it.
going to be labeled as a pesticide.
But you just said it. You said organic pesticide.
Well, they are organic. BT is a living organism.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's the terminology that I'm getting confused with. Sorry.
Okay. Okay, so there are organic things that,
It kills organic.
yeah, it kills organic. So, it's not, so let me put it this way. Arsenic is an organic substance, okay? But we don't want to eat it because it kills us, okay? And that's what happens when you use spinosad, BT, things like that. The animals will consume them, and it will kill them. They'll even label oils. We'll talk about oils. So if you spray a neem or an oil concoction that you make up, you will suffocate that animal. It kills them. So they will call that an organic pest control.
So,
Yes, ma'am.
in my grocery store, I love to buy organic. Bananas, lemon, whatever. I'm organic.
Okay?
Are you telling me at this point that it's not truly an organic, something that's grown organically where they didn't use any pesticides or anything? You're telling me there's organic pesticides?
There are organic pesticides.
Yes.
And if you care about that, you need to do some research, okay? Because I will tell you, especially in fruits and vegetables, there are what they call the dirty dozen, okay? And there are the dirty dozen, they are peaches, they are broccoli, they are cauliflower. These are things that when you get any kind of spray on them, organic or inorganic, it's very hard to get it off because it's hard to wash them and clean them and remove all residue from it. But organic law is a very interesting thing, okay? So, I'm sorry? Money. Money. Yeah. It's very, but it's also, it's money and the government, okay? So, just know, I don't know how to, I'm going to talk about two fictionalized fertilizer companies, okay? And I'm going to tell you a little story about organics, okay? So there is Company A, which is all organic, Okay? They're all organic. That's how they market themselves. That's how they promote themselves. They even promote themselves that your dog can eat my fertilizer and it will love it. It won't hurt it. And that's a true statement. In fact, Company A's dog or fertilizer is made in a dog food factory, okay, here in Texas. And so that is a true statement. But the organization that determines what is truly organic or not is called OMRI. O-M-R-I. And if you are truly an organic product, then you file for this recognition and you get to put OMRI on your packaging. Okay? Company A has built a fabulous business selling organic fertilizer, and they are not OMRI certified. Okay? Company B is a commercial fertilizer company. Okay? So they buy ammonium nitrate from China, and they buy it by the ton, and they bring it over here, and they mix all these fabulous commercial fertilizers that they sell to big landscaping firms and all of that, and that's fine. Okay? That works. But they also wanted to expand their product line, and they knew that people liked organics. So this big, massive commercial fertilizer company, who made all of its money for a number of years selling synthetic fertilizers, came out with an organic line. In fact, they came out with several organic lines, and every one of their organic lines are OMRI certified. So, is that not fascinating? So here's a company that's made all of its money, or a large portion of its money, selling for years commercial synthetic fertilizers, but when they went into organics, they got that OMRI certification. If you buy cage-free, free-range chickens, okay? Do you know how much space that free-range chicken has to have access to? He doesn't have to be in it. He has to have access to.
10 square feet.
It's something like that. It's like 10 square feet. It's not much. It's like 3 foot by 3 foot. They still raise those chickens the same way. They just got a door open at the end that gives them room to a 10-foot run. So it's still the same chickens, but they've met a natural labeling thing. So there are loopholes. And so if you are truly interested in this, do your research. Okay?
From the magazine?
From a magazine? There will be stories like that in the magazine.
Because I think that would be very interesting.
It is very
If I go to
interesting.
HEB and I get a bunch of bananas that has a little tape around it and it says organic, do I have to look for OMI on it?
OMRI. Now OMRI does not apply to food. So OMRI only provides products, okay? But then it's the same thing as the chicken. You have to look and you have to ask, and you can call HEB and you can say, how do I know that these bananas are organic? But let me tell you how bananas are, okay? So bananas are the most, and we're not talking pest control. Are we okay? Yeah. I'm off track. So I didn't say. Okay, this is all in the Huh?
I said, we all go to HEB, go ahead.
Okay, so this is all very important. So let's first be clear that I love HEB. Okay? I think HEB is probably the best corporate citizen the state of Texas has. And I agree. And I know, because when I was getting my master's at A&M, we took a tour of their floral receiving place that they have up there. Massive cold front where all of their flowers come in and then they distribute out of them. Many years ago, swine flu was a thing, and we were scared, and it was in Mexico. And so whoever was the governor then bought let's just say 5 million doses of swine flu vaccine, but the state had nowhere to store it. It's still in that cooler at HEB, okay? And HEB does that for free, okay? They also, so I want you to be clear, I'm not bashing HEB. HEB is a fine corporate citizen. They have an 18-wheeler. This is just amazing to me. They have an 18-wheeler. And if a hurricane hits Texas, and wipes everything out. They have 3 emergency 18-wheelers, and one of them is nothing but a generator, and it goes straight to the hospital in the local area. Okay? So HEB is a fine corporate citizen, so I'm not knocking. This is just how the banana trade works. Most consumed fruit in the world, okay? Most of them come from India, which is far away. It is very far away. And they don't come on airplanes because airplanes are expensive. Okay, so they come on boats. Now we're all master gardeners, right? So what happens when we take that banana, that organic banana that we buy kind of green at HEB, and we put it on top of our counter and walk away? What's it look like in 3 or 4 days? It's yellow and brown spotted, right? And in 10 days, you're using it for banana bread, right? But isn't that amazing that that banana somehow got from the fields of India to your grocery store? All right? And the reason they do that, and this is, to me, this is the glory of horticulture. This is the science of horticulture. So they cut those bananas when they are so green, they are inedible. Okay? So they cut them green, they put them in cold storage, and they ship them cold. Okay? Once they get to the United States, then they start spraying them with a plant hormone called ethylene. Okay? Ethylene is a naturally occurring plant hormone. 100% natural. It is one of the most important. Ethylene and auxins are probably the 2 most important plant hormones for people like us, okay? They do more of the things that we want. I heard somebody talk about your propagation classes and all that. They all play in that. So that's how you get a highly perishable product from India to your counter here in Seguin, Texas, okay? It's a long way. How organic is that? If you're, okay, so there's so many questions along the way. You just have to ask, what do you think about how it's shipped? Number one, it's shipped in cold storage, which comes at a cost to the environment, okay? It's used a lot of fuel to come on a boat over here for us to get it. So if you're still okay with the process at that point, then they put it in an air-conditioned truck and they run it to a distribution center who's now put it in your place, and now they're starting to spray it with chemicals. Now they're natural chemicals, it's ethylene, okay? But how do you feel that's truly organic? Do you think, because I think what you think is that somebody goes out in their banana farm, maybe in San Antonio, and cuts those off and ships them to HEB that day. Because that's not how it works.
I didn't really think that. However,
it's organic anyway, because
how come, why don't they put, why are all the other bananas in the store that aren't organic? What's the difference between the one I'm paying a little bit more for?
Money! Let's talk about flowers real quick. Okay? So, 50 years ago, 90% of the cut flowers sold in the United States came from the United States. About 50 years ago, 2 graduate students at the University of Colorado said, why aren't we growing flowers on the equator? That's the best place in the world to grow flowers. It's always between 55 and 80 degrees. The sunshine is always the same amount and everything. Let's go start a flower farm in Colombia. And they did that. And they got filthy rich. So then they started more flower farms in Colombia and Ecuador and Honduras and all that. And now today, 90% of the cut flowers sold in the United States come from somewhere else. Okay? Less than 10%. When you go to any florist, grocery store, or whatever, and you buy a bouquet of flowers, okay? You stick that bouquet of flowers in the water on your table, how long does that bouquet of flowers last? 1 week. I put that little packet. Okay, it's gonna last. I've seen some last Maria and some of the other stuff will last 3 or 4 weeks. Okay? Some of your lilies will last forever. And the reason is because they are doing a couple of things. They're doing plant breeding. When you do plant breeding, If you give a trait, you take a trait away. That's all, okay? So if you get long stem red roses, smell them. They ain't got no smell. They got no smell. But they got long, pretty stems, big red things, and they stay together on your counter for weeks, okay, before the petals start going on. Go to your house and cut one of your roses and put it in the water and see how long it takes for the petals to fall out. 2 days, okay? So, number one, plant breeders are creating basically almost artificial plants. These are plants that are designed, they're like your tomatoes, they're designed to ship. Okay, they're designed to ship and stay in a vase for a long period of time.
Cyborg.
They are cyborg plants. Whatever you want to call them, cyborg. So, now let's talk about how bad they are. Okay. Do you know why they're doing this in Colombia and they're not doing this in California, which also has great money? But what does that mean, money? Money, that's just a general term. It is money. Why do you think they do that?
Regulations.
Regulations. Ding, 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 ding. When you go to Colombia, you can send your workers into a greenhouse and you can have them spray the most noxious chemicals on the planet, and there's no regulation. If you want them to wear a respirator and you're a good person, you might encourage them to wear a respirator. That stuff doesn't fly in the
You
U.S.
get all the stuff from Mexico too.
Yeah.
The biologics and the hyperpipes. Yep.
So I just want you to know that, remember when I started out? I said organics can be defined about however we want. As gardeners, which we are, we have to decide how we're going to define that. Right? Okay? So, you have the right to say how much organic you want and how much you don't. Okay? So a lot of people, I'll tell you this, I have a master's degree in horticulture. I've written and read about 10 million articles on horticulture. Okay, here's what I understand. Everybody says plants use nitrogen, right?
Yes.
That is not quite true. Okay? Plants use NO3 and NO4. That is what plants take up. They do not take up nitrogen, just like we don't. We breathe in NO2 from the air. We breathe out NO3, NO4. Okay? We breathe in nitrates, nitrites. All right? So plants do use nitrogen because it's attached with an oxygen molecule, but they don't just use pure nitrogen. So when you go and buy commercial fertilizer, the nitrogen came from a thing called a Hager-Bosch factory. And the Hager-Bosch factory was invented in 1910, and it spits out ammonium nitrate from the air. So it sucks the oxygen in, it does some chemical and electrical processes, and it shoots a great high-grade fertilizer out the back. It's also a great explosive. Okay? And this was invented by a German who saved the world. When he invented it, he did it because in 1900, science said the greatest thing facing the world was overpopulation. And you know how many people they had?
In the world.
In the world.
Okay.
In 1900.
1 billion.
It was going to hit 1 billion, and so here we go. I'll get them. So they had to figure out how to produce fertilizer. Because before 1900, all agriculture was organic agriculture. Inorganic nitrogen did not exist before 1900. Okay? But this nice man who was going to save the world and allow us to grow crops was a German in a country that said, we can start World War I. Because even though we don't have any ports, we can make our own bombs. And so it created World War I, it created World War II, but it also created a world where we now have 8 billion people. Okay? And so I'm going to tell you this. When you go out into your garden and you get a commercial fertilizer, okay, and you put it out, your plant cannot tell if the NO3 that it takes up came from a Hager-Bosch plant in China, Canada, the United States. It can't tell. NO3 is NO3, whether it came from there or whether it came from the pee, poop, or the decomposition of a microbe or a living organism in your soil. Because that's the basis of organics, is healthy soil. That's where you said that, I'm saying organic pesticides and that's blowing your mind. Well, organic fertilizer should blow your mind too, okay? Because a fertilizer,
I buy organic.
I understand, but it's no difference in
buy that banana or just go on and buy the other.
something about that So something about that banana forced it to cost more.
Yeah.
That's just like when you go and you buy the free-range chickens, you pay more.
And it's because they're making it that, and you think you're getting it.
That's right.
Right. They're
You- All right. So, don't trust anybody. So Prevagen, the memory supplements. Everybody says, oh, Prevagen, the most tested supplement. If it says the word supplement, it is not tested by the FDA. That's correct. They can say whatever they want. I don't care what supplement it is, whey protein or whatever if you're a bodybuilder. If it says supplement, it's not tested by the FDA. Okay? So you have to understand that there's a whole lot of marketing and special words that are used to describe things. So let's take what we talked about and move through the rest of the slides. we had a priest, yes sir.
You had the little triangle and it said chemicals and biologicals at the top?
Yes.
Where do the bugs fall? Like ladybugs?
We're gonna talk about all that when we get up there. Okay? We're gonna talk about all of that when we get up there. Alright, so cultural control methods, but we don't have a lot of time. I'm just gonna tell you that a lot of things with cultural control methods is cleanliness. Clean up your gardens, okay? Don't let stuff lay around from year to year. So they tell you constantly, mulch, 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 right? But if you've got mulch that's been out there for a year, number one, you don't have as much as when you started, right? You put it out there, it goes down. So how many people remember what happened 2 or 3 years ago in February?
Big freeze.
Big freeze. Big freeze. 100-year freeze. Horrible freeze. After we came out of that freeze, my wife and I were sitting on our back porch drinking coffee because we'd been stuck inside and it was horrible. And we have a screened-in porch. And I started noticing red wasps flying around. Mature red wasps flying around after the worst freeze in history. Okay? Where do you think those red wasps came from? How do you think they survived it?
The ground.
They get under, you can say you're mulch, but there's many things. There's tree litter, there's limbs. That's how insects and all survive. And so if you want to have a vegetable garden that looks like this, and does anybody recognize where this came from? That picture? It was a well, no, I actually took that picture at a kind of local nursery. That came from the Natural Gardener. Okay? I love the Natural Gardener. They've been, supporters of the magazine for 40-something years. If you're going to have gardens like they do, you see how they've got the hay down?
Yeah.
At the end of the season, they're either going to turn what's left of that hay into the soil, or they're going to pick it up and pour it on a compost pile, all right? Because a lot of insects, their survival mechanism is to get under cover, and that's how they survive. So if you want to clean up eggs, pupa, things like that, then be sure and clean your garden beds out. Cleanliness is everything, okay? And that's all I'm going to beat up on that. So just think about cleanliness. When you go in a greenhouse, remember we're talking about a greenhouse? Most greenhouses now have 2 doors. So you go in the first door, and you go into an air space, and then you have to either put on, little paper shoes, or at least scrape and clean your shoes off. Because that's a cultural control thing to not bring pests in. All right? So clean up. Once you've got everything cleaned up, and somebody else said something earlier too. So plant things properly and plant things made for your area, right? How many of y'all have great azalea shrubs? Y'all don't have azalea shrubs. Why? The soil is not right. Okay, right? But we're gardeners. You know, we've got some knowledge. If we wanted to grow an azalea, we could acidify that soil, right? And we could grow an azalea. But would that azalea ever do what that azalea was supposed to do? No. It's not made for the calciferous soils that we have here. Okay? So you could make it live, but it would be sick the whole time that it was alive. It would be a sick plant. And bugs can tell sick plants from healthy plants. And so they're going to attack the sick plants. Okay? And so plant what grows here. Keep your stuff cleaned up. Plant it at the right distance, the right spacing. You know, how many people grow tomatoes? Okay. Whoop, there's a million ways to grow tomatoes, right? But what do they tell you about tomatoes? Do they tell you to grow tomatoes like a hedge and put them just 1 foot apart and have them all? They don't. And why do they not tell you that? Disease, bugs, airflow, disease. If there is no airspace around that plant, and a little bug that can't fly is spreading that thing, if it's touching another plant, then he can just walk over to a leaf and spread that to that other tomato plant. Okay? So that's all cultural control. That's basic housekeeping, read and follow label directions. Okay? Now, once you've done that, that doesn't mean we're going to be bug-free. That just means we're going to try to eliminate some of the problems before we get them. But once we start seeing them, I got up here, observe, okay? I know I'm selling planting guides, okay, and I think mine's great. But whether you buy my planting guide or not, I give a talk called Growing Great Gardeners. Good gardeners, or great gardeners, are journaling gardeners, okay? And so I tell you right here, observe. The single most important thing you can do is be in your garden and make notes of when things start happening. Okay? And it doesn't matter if we're talking about weeds, it doesn't matter if we're talking about bugs. You need to be aware of when bugs start showing up. You need to know what their eggs look like. You need to know what their life cycle is. And that's how you're going to beat them organically. Because organics is a system. And so if you don't want to, how many people know what malathion is? Have y'all heard of malathion?
Yeah.
It's a white, milky poison that smells like poison. Okay? And if you've got any kind of shrub, especially roses, by your back door, in the fall, you'll walk through and you get hit with this cloud of whiteflies. Okay? If you want to kill them, you can spray them with malathion. Okay? And it'll kill them. And it'll kill them for a month. Okay? But your house will stink for a month. Okay? Because that is that's a true poison. If you're going to control them organically, you need to understand their life cycle. You need to understand that when those whiteflies, when you first see a whitefly, that means they're breeding and reproducing, and you need to get on them now. You don't need to say, oh, I'll spray in a week or 10 days or whatever. Then they'll be out of control. Aphids, all right? Patty Leander, when she talks, she says that aphids are born pregnant. Now, that's not exactly true, but aphids can reproduce 3 days after they're born. Wow. Okay? So, if you know that, and you know how your chemical controls work, we're not spraying malathion. So the things that we're going to use to control, we'll talk about this, we're going to have to apply them frequently, and we're going to have to try to get ahead of that life cycle, okay? So, be observant. Be observant. So, if you go out there and you start seeing a few bugs, a lot of times you can pick them off. You can put a bucket of soapy water under it, hit the plant, knock them into it. And that's how you should control your pests, okay? When they start showing up, get under control. And if you can control them at this level, you'll never have to go up the triangle and get into those pesticides that we're going to talk about, okay? So, pick bugs off of plants. Let's go back to our tomatoes. Leaf-footed bugs. How many people know what a leaf-footed bug is? Yeah. What does a leaf-footed bug's baby look like? That's right, little red things with black legs, right? They can't fly. Did you know that? They can't fly. So at that point, if you start seeing them, you literally can knock them into a bucket of soapy water. Better yet, if you had notes in a journal and you knew that these things started showing up in your garden around the 1st of April, then you could be out in your garden turning the leaves over and looking for the eggs. And you could be scraping the eggs off. You could be proactive, okay? Try to beat the infestations before they get started. They are. They're little rust. Oh, those are green, but most of them are a rusty color. And so stink bugs, housing bugs are unique. But learn them. Learn what the eggs look like and destroy them. And they're always going to be on the underside of your plants. Okay? And so that's one way to get control of them. Certain things, you want to talk about organic? Certain things like aphids and scales, in the early stages you can control them with water. Okay? Aphids don't have enough strength. They're born on a plant and they're designed to live within about 6 to 8 inches from where they were born their whole life. That's how they're designed. So if you go after them with a strong burst of water up from the bottom and you drop them to the ground, they generally can't climb back up high enough to do anything, and something on the ground will eat them. Okay? And so scales they only work when they're active. You know what scale insects are? So kind of like an aphid, but it starts sucking and builds a shell. At that point, you're going to have to go to oils. Okay? But anyway, I'm sorry?
No.
Okay. So do that. Now, by far, the best organic bug solution I have ever found is growing under cover. And I tell people, and it's not really a joke, okay? I got to where I couldn't grow green beans in my house, okay? And the reason I couldn't grow green beans is because my wife has a strict no-kill anything at my house. And we live out in the country, and so we have some of the finest cottontail bunnies in the world. Because we have a great garden for them to eat and bulk up on and all of that. And my wife would not let me dispose of it. And so after 2 years of not being able to grow green beans, I had to do something. Because I love green beans. Okay, I mean, this is my favorite time of the year, is new potatoes and green beans, all right? So if you will grow under cover, and by cover, I think when we say cover, most people think of frost cloth.
Yes.
Yeah, like you're going to do some kind of tunnel, and I don't care if you use PVC. I've got these little fiberglass things that are about 6 foot tall. They're bigger than a pencil lead, but you know, you can use them over. It doesn't matter. You've got to have some kind of tunnel to support them. Grow things under cover and exclude the plants from something's buzzing.
Other way.
You're going the other way.
Oh, am I moving it?
Yeah, you move backward.
Oh, okay. So anyway, grow under cover. Okay? The bugs can't get to it. Now, how many people here know what the squash vine borer is? Right? We love the squash vine borer, right? No. Boo, hiss. We hate the squash vine borer.
Sure do.
It doesn't matter if you're a chemical gardener. There is not a chemical out there that will kill the squash vine borer. So you've got to find a way to beat it. Okay? And you basically have 3 ways to beat the squash vine borer. And all of it involves knowing when she shows up. Okay? So if you don't know when she's coming to your garden, then you don't know how to fight her. So you need to get out in your garden, know that she's a little gray bug with orange spots, and when she's flying around in your garden, she sounds like a bumblebee. So if you're out there and you hear bzzz, start looking, because she's looking to lay eggs on your squash. So if you are lucky enough to be out there and you hear that, then you know you've already hooped up your squash because you know she's coming. Then all you have to do is put your lightweight row cover over it, seal the ends, seal the edges, no squash vine borer. Okay, but what's the problem with it? There is one problem. You have to pollinate. But we're all gardeners, right? So we know how to hand pollinate squash, right? And if not, you've got, some people that are master gardeners. They can show you how, right? So typically, I do everything with drip, and I grow almost everything under cover because of this, okay? Now, the fun thing is, most of the stuff we grow in our garden doesn't require pollination. Did y'all know that? It doesn't require an insect pollinator. Everything requires pollination. Beans, self-pollinated. Tomatoes, self-pollinated or wind-pollinated. Okay? So a lot of the things that we grow undercover, they're fine undercover. If you eat the root or the tops, a beet, a radish, a turnip or whatever, don't need pollination. Okay? If it's a green, don't need pollination. Okay? You're eating the leaves, you're not eating the fruit, right? So, grow undercover. And I tell people, there's all kinds of cover out there. When you go to ask for it, it is sold, and you can find out, what kind of cover you have by how much it weighs. So when you look at the label, it will be 3 foot by 3 foot square, and it will say it's like 4 ounces, 6 ounces. You want the lightest that you can, because it will let in sunlight, and it will let in some moisture, but not all. But you're just trying to keep the bugs out, and it doesn't take much to keep the bugs out. Okay, another thing that you can do, traps. Okay, let's go back to our greenhouse. What you see up there is a yellow sticky trap. How many people have ever used yellow sticky traps? They're great. Okay, do you know why yellow sticky traps are yellow and they're not pink or red or green? Do what? The bugs are attracted to it. I've got some fertilizer. So, just fun horticultural fact, more flowers in the world are yellow than any other color. And because of that, most insect species have some attraction to yellow. Okay? You can buy this stuff on Amazon. You can buy it 8.5 by 11 sheets. You can cut it up into 4 pieces, poke holes in it, stick it on your tomato cages, and it's going to get a lot of bugs. Okay? It's going to catch a lot of bugs. Now, y'all asked about the butterfly or the ladybugs and all of that. So let's remember, even though this is a pretty organic thing here, this is a side. Okay? This is going to kill insects. Okay? Now, is that only going to kill bad bugs?
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
No.
Take his fertilizer away from him.
Good one. I will tell you this. There is no program of pest control that only kills bad bugs. Period. It does not exist. You're disagreeing with me.
Yeah, some of them they're making viruses that will attack a certain insect.
Okay, so, but that's not available to you and me to go out and spray this virus, okay? So, but fair enough. That is a true statement. There are vectors that only kill certain things, okay? And there are parasites that will attack certain things and lay their eggs in them and so on and so forth. But that's not generally something you and I can control, okay? So in our garden, if you choose, and remember, everything's a choice, okay? You don't have to control these pests. This is one thing I always tell people. This is your choice. Everything we do is a choice. I'm going to tell you, all those holes that are going to be in your lettuce this fall, if you don't get on top of the caterpillar, you can't taste them when you eat it. Okay? I'm going to let you know that just because produce doesn't look perfect doesn't mean it's not edible. Okay? Peaches, Dr. Jerry Parsons, this is one of my favorite jokes of his. The peach and plum curculio. Do y'all know what that is? It's a little worm that burrows into your peaches and everything, puts little holes in it and everything, and once you get it, it's hard to control it. Dr. Parsons said, eat them. They're made of peaches. You know? I mean, that's all they need. They grow up and eat them. That's protein. That's protein, okay? So, if you're going to do any kind of side, even if it's something as simple as a sticky trap, know that you're going to inadvertently, most likely, kill something you didn't want to kill. Okay? That's just the way it is, organic or inorganic. Okay? So here are some of these things. People talk about slugs, snails, and pill bugs. I get a whole bunch of pill bug questions. So people, saucers of beer, it's okay, or whatever. Put it down in there, still they'll get in there, and they'll drown, okay? For pill bugs, a good organic control is grapefruit rinds. What were you going to say?
Pill bugs are good bugs also.
Well, pill bugs can be good bugs. They're decomposers. They're breaking down the dead stuff. And that's what, I didn't want to get off into the organic fertilizer thing, but if you are truly organic, your plants are going to get all they need from pee, poop, and death. Okay? I mean, that's what builds the soil. That's what puts the nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, calcium, manganese, all that in the soil. Pee, poop, and death. Okay? So anyway, I don't know which way I'm going. All right, let's go on. Buckets of soapy water. You can put big buckets of soapy water out, put them out at night, put a light over it, you'll catch thousands of bugs every night. But again, some of them will be good bugs. All right, so now we're up at the top of this triangle. Okay, we're at the top of the triangle, and this is where we're going to have the sides. Last resort, use them sparingly. Primarily, there are two pesticides, if you want to call it, that we use, spinosad and BT. BT is the oldest organic chemical control that has been known to gardeners. It's been around for a long time, okay? What I will tell you about it, it's for your soft-bodied stuff, and it's for your you remember how we were talking about the leaf-footed bugs when they're little and they're red and they got the black legs? BT will kill them at that point. Okay? I'm sorry? Yeah, soap, insecticidal soaps and all of that. Insecticidal soaps are good. Oils, we'll talk about some of those. So, but primarily think of BT for soft-bodied plants. The problem that we have with it, and this is one of those human nature things, we say, well, I'm going to spray this every day this week, and so you mix up a 5-gallon sprayer. It degrades by light and heat. And so just know that within 48 hours, it's completely inert. So kind of mix it when you use it. That's, if not, you're just spraying them with water, basically, okay? All right. Okay, and apply at least 3 times for best results. This is what I tell people too. This is where I say, learn your pest life cycle. Learn how often it reproduces. If aphids reproduce every 3 days, then what does that tell you? That tells you you need to be spraying something out there every 3 days, whether it's water, whether it's insecticidal soap, whether it's a horticultural oil, because if you miss 2 days, then you've missed 2 cycles in their life cycle, okay? And so if you want to control them early, look for them early, start treating them early. And treat them multiple times. Spinosad. Spinosad kills bigger things that are harder to kill. But to me, if you're going to spinosad, okay, y'all asked about ladybugs, right? So let's talk about some of the beneficials in our gardens. We've got ladybugs. We've got assassin beetles. We've got praying mantis. We've got all kinds of wasps. We've got all kinds of beneficials in our garden, right? Spiders. Spinosad will kill all of them. Okay? So, you have to be aware that that's what I got to tell you. Just because it says it's organic doesn't mean it's not going to kill. It will kill all of those things that we just talked about if you spray it inappropriately. Now it will, no matter what, if it gets them inappropriate or not, it will kill them. So what you have to learn too, general rules, is spray right before dusk. Okay? Right before dusk, most things have gone dormant. They're getting out of the way. So you're going to reduce, your bees are not going to be flying in to pollinate your stuff. So if you're going to do it, do a little research, spray it properly. Okay. Oils. Let's talk about oils. There's all kinds of oils. There's neem. There's orange oil. There are horticultural oils, dormant oil, summer oil. Okay? So, and there are different times to use these oils. But basically what an oil does, an oil is going to do one of 2 things. An oil is going to kill by coating the bug, and it's going to clog its respiratory system. Okay? But what else will do, one reason neem is such an effective tool, is I tell people this is kind of a joke, but it's kind of true. Okay? If you want to grow a pest-free garden, I can tell you how to grow up. You want a pest-free garden, you won't even have deer in your garden. Okay? You want a pest-free garden? Grow alliums. Grow onions, garlics, leeks. We're the only thing that eats them. okay? Deer don't eat them, bugs don't eat them, okay? Because of that, whenever you make these homemade concoctions, smell is a thing that will repel certain things. So people are always like, what's a homemade concoction? So I tell people, yes ma'am. Use some onion. Put some onion in it. Boil the onion in it. Put some oil in it. I don't care if it's olive oil, put some oil in it. But how do you get the benefit out of the oil? Is you put a suffocant in, which is dish soap, all right? And do y'all know how suffocants work, what that means?
Breaks down the surface tension.
And what?
Breaks down the surface tension.
Yes, it breaks down the surface tension. So if you have a bucket of water that you go out and you're knocking harlequin bugs into, you're going to put some soap in there, because if not, the harlequin bugs will walk off of the water, walk up the side of your thing and disappear, okay? And so it's a suffocant. But when you mix it in a spray, what it does is, think about if we magnify that, and you take a spray bottle and you just spray it under magnification, it's going to look like there are golf balls coming out of it. If you put the soap in it, because it breaks that surface tension, it's going to look like BBs are coming out of it. And so that oil is going to be in all of those tiny BBs, and it's a better way to get the oil on whatever you're trying to get the oil on, okay? So that's what a suffocant is. So, see here what we talked about? So, neem, smell. A lot of things will stay off of plants sprayed with neem, just because they don't like the smell, okay? Same thing with orange oil. Okay, orange oil and neem too, they're strong enough that you need to dilute them before you spray them, because they can burn and cause some problems. But some plants or some animals do not physically like the smell. Okay? We also have predators, lady beetles, praying mantis, wasps, and all that. I know a lot of people get worked up. Everybody loves, I don't know who does PR for like the monarch butterflies and honeybees, you know, because everybody loves them. They love them, okay? But I want you to know, wasps do almost as much pollination in your garden as the honeybee does. And nobody likes the wasp. Everybody, you know, bumblebees, Texas native bumblebees. They are great. They're great pollinators. So just know that if you are going to do a chemical biological control, you need to learn and see when these things are in your garden and try to do your spraying at a way that you're going to hopefully save as many as possible, right? Okay? So, now, my wife is usually here and she gives it, and I'm looking up there. Yeah, I'm done.
We got you.
So, huh?
I do have a question.
I'm done.
Do you have this available that you could email to me or get to me?
So, I left it on your computer. Okay?
Okay, can we share it, Sarah Jane?
And there's so much more, in there. I'm stopping here. So we hadn't even talked about weed control and stuff like that. But, you know, we've been going too long, so I'll stay around to answer any questions. I'm sorry? Well, but it all ties in.
So, how would I change this on the go? As far as like the,